アレックス・リー対アヒト試合でございます。世界各地行ってらっしゃるんですけど、アレックスさんも90回からね、結構やっぱ体を
My name is Alex Lee, and this is my story. Я се зовем Алекс и ово е моја прича. 私の名前は Alex です。I was born in Sarajevo, Bosnia, and my early childhood was great. I grew up with lots of friends and lots of cousins. I come from a really loving family. In summers, we would go to Croatia and we would play on the beach. We would go swimming and play water sports. And then because Sarajevo is surrounded by mountains, in winter, go mountain climbing, and we would sled and go skiing, and it was just the best place to be born in, really. And then I remember the day that the war started in my country. It was April 1992, and one day I opened the curtains to my window, and it was just deathly quiet outside, which was very strange for my neighborhood. As kids, we would always just play outside. We would be running in and out of everybody's backyard, but this day there was just no one was out, and I just watched as the Serbian army tanks just rolled down the streets. And from that day, everything changed. That was the beginning of a 3-year siege of the city of Sarajevo and a campaign of ethnic cleansing and genocide. So that day, my life changed completely. In 1992, I had just finished first grade, but because the war started, every day we were being bombed and shelled. My building was bombed, my house was bombed, my school was bombed, all the playgrounds were bombed. We didn't have electricity, we didn't have running water, we didn't have food, really. You couldn't go to a supermarket, we couldn't go outside to play. My mom and my family and we had to live in a bunker underneath our building. So I remember one specific day, I had finished first grade of school, and because the city was under siege, in my school, all the parents and all the kids were invited with all the teachers to have a big meeting about what to do from here on, because it was becoming too dangerous to come to school. In Sarajevo, you couldn't just walk from your home to school, you couldn't get a bus to school, for example, because of all the snipers on the buildings. So me and my friends, we would have to run in and out of buildings to get to school and avoid something called the sniper alley, which is basically sets of main roads that lead from my house to the school, where all the Serbian force snipers were positioned, waiting to shoot down kids going to school. All of a sudden, my school was bombed, so the playground was shelled, and it was just madness. There were kids everywhere running, screaming. And from then on, I couldn't go to school anymore because it was too dangerous. Because the city was under siege for 3 years, the only way in and out of the city was through something called Tunel Spasa, or Tunnel of Rescue, or Tunnel of Hope, as it's become known. And in January 1995, my mother and I went through the tunnel. And the tunnel is basically 1.5 meters tall by less than 1 meter wide hole in the ground that was built under a house that connected the city from a neighborhood in Sarajevo under the airport and out to Igman Mountain. After we came out of the tunnel, you just had the clothes on your back and whatever you could carry, and I was a child, so that wasn't much. And you just putting one foot in front of the other in the middle of winter in the snow and trying to walk over a mountain and hoping that you weren't going to be shot or bombed in the middle of the night. Part of the way is the UN safe zone, but UN safe zones were bombed the whole time. And eventually we managed to get on a bus and go to a refugee camp in Split, Croatia. In the camp, we lived in a small room of 5 adults and me, including my mom, and it was just bunk beds. I didn't really go to school because I wasn't really a citizen anywhere to be able to go to school. In the very end of '95, my mother and I moved to Australia on a refugee visa as refugees. So we came to Brisbane, Australia, and I felt very safe and very welcome. It was very hard to get used to a new country though. I had only at that point had 1 year of actual education, and I didn't speak English, of course, so it was really big adjustment. But Australia was great. It's so, the weather is amazing. Brisbane was like this big, beautiful city. There was no bombing, there was no shelling. You could go to the supermarket and buy food. You turn the lights on in the house and they work. You could take a shower, a bath. And I thought it was the best thing that could have happened. And it really was. I went to high school, and after I finished university, I graduated with a Bachelor of Laws and Finance with honours, and I started working as a property banker for the largest financial institution in Australia. And the credit crisis had hit. So it was a really bad time to be a banker, but I was very fortunate that I had this great high-paying job. But I was miserable, just really unhappy. So wrestling was always kind of in the background for me. I discovered it when I first came to Australia, completely by accident, just watching it on friend's TV, and I was like, whoa, what is this? I saw a lot of Japanese female talent on TV, like Chiku Senagayo when she was 0, with the face paint, and Bull Nakano with the face paint as well, and just thought this was a spectacle. And then WWE SmackDown came to Brisbane for a house show, and I went with my boyfriend at the time to watch it, and it was just the best. I saw guys like Edge, and I thought, like, I really want to do this. And I said to my boyfriend at the time, like, I want to do this. That whole place filled with people. I just thought, like, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do. But I didn't really know how to become a wrestler. A lot of the indie wrestlers at the time, they were talking about Lance Storm, and Lance Storm has this school in Canada, and Lance Storm is running a proper wrestling training camp, and everybody wanted to go because Lance was the best, and looked up Lance Storm Academy online, sent Lance an email, and that was it. I decided to go to Lance Storm in Calgary. So I came to Storm Wrestling Academy in 2010 in Calgary, Canada, and Lance kicks your ass hard. It was just, every day was really hard. It was 3 hours a day in the morning, and then we would eat lunch, and then all of us would go to the gym. So it was training twice a day, Monday to Friday. We would do an hour of conditioning, an hour of bumps and rolls, and when Lance will teach us new moves or parts of matches, and then it would be an hour of high spots, drills, matches, and watching tape back. And he was just the best person to start wrestling training with. Lance is very hard to please. He's a perfectionist. He's very honest. So if he didn't like something, he would just stand kind of in the corner with his Under Armour t-shirt on, and he would just like, yuck, do that again, or like, don't ever do that again. But it was so much fun. I was really happy to just wake up, have breakfast, get in the car, go to school, get beat up for 3 hours, come home, have lunch, go to the gym, come home, watch some wrestling, go to bed, wake up and do it all over again. It was the best. And while I was at Lance has this huge library. He had a lot of Japanese tapes, a lot of like guys like Misawa, Kawada, Kobashi, a lot of older All Japan wrestling, UWF, and he had a lot of this stuff for us to just borrow and watch. And I really fell in love with the Japanese style. It was just really cool to me. And I actually did 3 camps with Lances, so it was literally a year of every day just wake up, train for 3 hours in the ring, go home, have lunch, go to the gym, repeat. And that was it for about a year. It was awesome. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I started my career in Calgary. Well, I remember Norman smiling one day, and I said to Norman, I said, what I really want to do is I want to go to Japan. And Norman says to me, and I'll never forget this, he said, don't go to Japan, you're not ready for Japan. I said, well, I'm gonna go anyway. So from there, I just thought, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go to Japan. I'm not ready. I know I'm not ready. I'm a complete rookie. I am not really very good in the ring, but the only way to improve and the only way to do the style that I want is to go and get your ass kicked by people who are better than you. And I really didn't care that I wasn't ready. And if I thought Lances was hard, Japan was like a whole other level. I lived in the dojo for about a year. We'd wake up, you'd go downstairs, so you'd live upstairs, and then the ring was downstairs in the arena, in the Kaintai Dojo arena. So literally walk downstairs after you wake up, and you're in the ring. And it would be training from 10 to 1, and very similar to Lance's, but a lot more intensity, a lot more cardio conditioning, a lot more bumps. And then arena training would be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it was just bumps, 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 and drills, and bumps, and drills, and bumps, and drills. Until like by 6:30, you just like cement. You can't walk, tired as hell. And all of it in a language that I did not understand at the time because I didn't speak a word of Japanese when I came to Japan. For my second year in Japan, I was a freelance wrestler. Since then, I have wrestled in every women's company, every opponent, every kind of match. I've been the only foreign female that spent 7 years here full time. Girls kind of come in and out, but I've been the only one that's been here constantly for 7 years now. And often, I am the only foreigner on the card, and that's been the case for many different companies, many different cards, for many years. And because I've spent such a long time in Japan, I have this great career, I have a lot of fun, and I've done things in Japan that no other foreigner female has done. Something made me realize that I should really tell this story, that this story should be out there, and that it was important. And that's Bruno Sammartino. Bruno was an Italian immigrant that survived fascism, that hid in the mountains from fascists and came to America with nothing, and he became a WWE Hall of Famer. He became an inspiration for millions of people. He inspired me to tell this story. In 2013, I watched Bruno Sammartino get inducted into WWE Hall of Fame. And Bruno talked a lot about wrestling in Madison Square Garden and what that meant for him. And obviously, he has main evented and sold out Madison Square Garden more than any other wrestler in history of business. And I thought to myself, like, that's strong style right there. That's what it's about. For the longest time, I was really ashamed to say that I was a refugee because I didn't want to sound whiny or entitled or want the world to feel sorry for me, and I didn't want to be reminded of a lot of it. And now's the time to say it. Now's the time to tell the world my story. Because I want everyone who's a refugee to be inspired, and because I want anyone who's ever been ashamed of anything in their life to be inspired. And I want them to know that they can overcome things and overcome them with dignity and with their humanity still intact. Strong style is not about kicks and strikes. Strong style is about what's in your heart. Strong style is about surviving all of the worst things that life can throw at you and kicking out of all of it. Strong style is about coming back from the worst of the worst. And now I want to bring my strong style back to America.